when we had some time together, Ricky explained their courtship to me. In the observant community, which is how he always referred to his religious community that he was a part of, the way eligible men would go on chaperone dates with eligible women. And these were not, hey, let's go out and have some fun dates. They didn't go bowling. They didn't go to the movies. These were serious fact-finding missions where you sat across from the table from the other person and tried to determine whether they were a match or not. The average guy on one of these dates was 18 or 19, and the average girl 17 or 18. So just finding a suitable candidate was tough, because Ricky was now in his mid-30s. But he finally got set up with Yael, who had been out of the country, working abroad, and now she was back, ready to start a family. She was 29, maybe 30. But she and her Israeli family were very leery of him, skeptical of this American. And it took him an inordinate number of dates to wear her down and get her to agree to marry him. 11. That's funny. I thought you said 11. Yeah. He explained to me the average number of dates before people get married, 4. The first date, you go, and immediately you can tell whether the person sitting across the table in terms of physical desirability is in the ballpark or not. If not, geh gesundheit, which is Yiddish for go in good health, but it's always said sarcastically, so it's kind of a nice way of saying go to hell. Okay? Go in good health. That's Yiddish. But if they are in the ballpark, you go on another date, she tells her life story. You go on another date, you tell your life story, and how many more dates do you have to go on before you're saying, so do we make a deal here or not? I was walking with Ricky a few days before the wedding, and he saw a rabbi that he knew. He said, hang on a second, I got to talk to him. I got to ask him how he holds on something. How you hold is how you interpret some particular Jewish law. And traditionally, your congregation will have a little party for you after your last service as a single man. And Ricky's responsibility was to bring the soda to this party. And he needed to ask the rabbi how he held regarding the opening of the soda bottles on the Sabbath. Because some rabbis hold that when you break the seal on the bottle, you are creating a vessel, which would constitute work, thereby a violation of the Sabbath. And what got me wasn't that. It was that Ricky said, Rabbi, listen, I understand. If there's writing across the seal, then obviously, no, you can't do it. I'm not stupid, I know that. I'm asking about a situation where there is no writing. The rabbi held, drum roll please, not a violation. Fortunate too, he was fully prepared to open and reseal every bottle the night before. Can you imagine a God that would make you drink flat soda at a party? That's Old Testament cruelty. He was very busy in the days before the wedding, and on the Friday before, he set me up to have Sabbath dinner with a family that he knew spoke English. And they were lovely, nice people, though I kept making these Sabbath faux pas. At dessert, I dipped my cookie in my coffee. No, sorry. Apparently, because the coffee is hot, when you dip the cookie in it, it's considered cooking it a second time, and there's a prohibition against things twice cooked on the Sabbath. Really? That's what you think God is worried about. What he's keeping track of. And that was the thing. It was this arcane rules and laws, but it also seemed that the Jews could find loopholes to the laws that they didn't want to follow when they didn't want to follow them. For instance, I had met a guy there, and I went to visit him, and he lived on the 8th floor, and it was on the Sabbath, and I assumed no one would be able to ride in the elevator because you wouldn't be able to push any buttons that would be considered work, except they had rigged the elevator on the Sabbath to run all day and all night, stopping at every floor on the way up and every floor on the way down. As if God was going, oh, you got me! Oh, that was tricky, making it go automatic like that. I should have thought ahead. Who knew? I guess I did. The wedding was a lovely celebration, though not without controversy. Some of the older rabbis made it clear that they were upset that there was some mixed seating going on. It was women on that side and men on this side, but some of the families that apparently held differently were sitting at gasp the same table. And these rabbis made it clear that they found this offensive and could not and would not stay. While I understand deeply held religious convictions and beliefs, it's hard not to see leaving someone's wedding as being a backward douchebag. Is that harsh? Epilogue. That was something like 17 years ago in Jerusalem. It's the last time I've seen Ricky. I keep in contact with him mostly through my mother, who speaks to him very frequently on the phone. We've tried to talk on the phone some, but the truth is, since he moved to Israel, neither of us have been very compelled to stay in touch with the other. Time to time, I've tried to talk to him on the phone. We don't have that much to say to each other, and it's crushingly boring. I don't want to enforce the stereotype, but all he wants to do is complain about money. Oh, and that his neighbors are driving him crazy with all the noise. He's never used the phrase constant tummeling, but he might as well have. But that's not the real reason, I think, that I haven't really stayed in contact with him. And it's not that I'm afraid he's going to try to convert me or try to convince me of the righteousness of his path or even the rightness of it for him, or that he stands in judgment of me and my life. It is, maybe obviously, that I can't help but stand in judgment of him. Last year, his son, who I've never met, was turning 13, which meant he was getting bar mitzvah. And my dad is in his 80s. He's not going to get on a plane and go to Israel, but I thought maybe my mom would want to go. So I called her and I said, listen, if you want to go, I'll fly to Florida, pick you up, and chaperone you over to Israel. Thought it was the right thing to do. And I thought maybe it'd be a chance to reconnect with Ricky, meet my nephew for the first time. Though again, not much of a meeting. He doesn't really speak English, and Baruch atah Adonai, right? But Ricky discouraged the idea. He said, listen, a bar mitzvah over here isn't like a bar mitzvah over there. Pleasant little ceremony, and then you go eat some cheese blintzes and dance the alley cat. These were serious, all in Hebrew, morning till night, ass kickings, you know. Guys in long white beards, all in Hebrew. And he knew, you know, flying 18 hours to sit through that wasn't going to be a party. And he couldn't have been more right. But what really struck me was the next thing. He said that he knew I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time. And he said he didn't think it was appropriate for me to leave my young family, to take a dangerous trip across the Atlantic. And that he wanted to make it clear that his belief system, it had the shoe be on the other foot, he wouldn't do it. And I said to my mom, well, gee, it sort of sounds like he's saying in the event of, oh, say, a family funeral, he's not going to get on a plane and come over here. And my mom said, yeah, that was what she took from the conversation too.